Okay, unscreened caller, you're live on the air. What's your name and where you from?
Oh, Sean, it's Don Johnson from East Texas.
Hey, Don, what's going on, brother? Let me pull up that email that you sent me.
All right.
Uh, hold on just a second. You're about 15 deep. Where the hell did I put you? I got a ton. I got a ton. Oh no, that's not it. I know I had you in here. Where the hell did you go? Oh, here you go. I got you. All right. All right. So, which one you want me to pull up first?
It's really up to you. If you're gonna look at the tree breaks, we had talked about tree breaks that you find in the woods, and what Bigfoot tree breaks look like versus natural tree breaks.
Right.
And so what I did was I had sent you last time a picture of what I believe to be a Bigfoot tree break and a footprint. So what I ended up doing was I went back to that same location and looked around and found another tree break that was just a single tree that's been over at a 90 degree.
Mm-hmm.
And,
yeah, I got that. I got that. Hold on a second. Let me pop that up here and reveal that. There you go. Okay, I got you. Got you set up.
And yeah, that tree is about as big as your forearm. So it's not just a huge tree, but it's bigger than any person that I know could break. And it doesn't have any damage around it to say something other than hands actually got a hold to it and broke it.
All right.
And it's right amongst a thicket of trees, so there's nothing could got in there to it. In fact, the top of it is pushed into the middles of all those little trees around it.
Okay. Let me.
So
I think I might have gotten the wrong one, but I got the new one. All right. Now I got it. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I got that one.
So that one is, I believe, to be a real tree break. So something with hands did that. Say a Bigfoot did it. I can't say a Bigfoot did it because I didn't see it happen. But something really big and really powerful did that.
Wow.
That break is, if I stand under and I'm 6 foot tall, and the top of that tree touches the top of my head, the bottom of that limb rather touches the top of my head.
Right.
Standing under it. So
that's 6.5 feet, 7 feet tall. At the
I'd say just 6 foot, a little over. Yeah, right there at the bend.
All right.
So that's a pretty good sized critter did that.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
And so I also took a picture of some other trees that are broke. That are actually, there's a picture of 3 trees that are broke right beside each other. And those trees, I believe, are broken because of wind damage. And the reason that I believe it's wind damage is because the trees themselves have the bark is slipping on them, which means that the trees themselves were either dead or unhealthy. And I believe that the one that was in the very back, the tallest one, when it broke and fell over, the other 2 beside it were also not healthy, and so it actually broke the 2 right beside it, and they all fell together.
Yeah, you can kind of see that they they don't have any foliage on it at all.
Yeah. The foliage, you can see it. What little is there is all dead, and you can see if you zoom in on the bark, where the bark could actually start slipping off the tree, started coming off the tree itself. You can see the meat behind the bark.
Yeah, I can.
So I
just
wanted to. Yeah, it's just I wanted to show that to you because there's not a lot of people that really share a lot of information about this. I had to do a lot of digging to find information. Most people that quote unquote research Bigfoot and Dogman and cryptids and stuff, they don't really share the details of they just talk about the pictures that, oh, look what I caught and I did this and I did that, but they don't explain anything. So I've done a lot of reading and a lot of looking for myself, and growing up in the woods, it was something that I was always taught was to pay attention to your surroundings. I mean, when something doesn't look right or looks unnatural
Mm-hmm.
or out of place, then question it and say, what is it that caused it? And so, as I got older and started experiencing things and realizing there were other things in the woods, I knew from my childhood that there was something else out there. I didn't know exactly what it was, but I just knew it looked in my window and scared me to death. So I ended up having reoccurring nightmares over years and years. And after I finally went back and tried to face the nightmares and figure out what was causing the nightmares, I questioned my mother over the memories that I had, and it wasn't just a dream. It was actual something that happened, and it was something looking in my window. And so, as a 4-year-old child, you don't think you'd have a lot of real serious, concrete memories, but my memories are pretty vivid. When I was 4 years old, and a lot of things happened in my life when I was 4. So,
right.
But anyway, that's a story for another time. But anyway, as I grew up in the woods, and like I said, I looked around and saw a lot of things. I learned to track whenever I was really young, from my grandfather and my great-grandfather and my dad. And so we hunted and trapped and fished and all that sort of stuff. And, I gathered a lot of information from them. But over the years, I saw things I couldn't explain, tracks that were bigger than they should have been, and then it always reminded me of things, that maybe I had dreamt about or things that I had seen as a child and not really understood what they were. But that's what kind of drove me in as an adult to look into cryptids. But anyway, it's just one of the things that I like to do. I like to take pictures of tracks, and I like to, take casts if I can find a good one, and I haven't found a whole lot of really good ones that were unique enough to try to cast. So
right.
I've only learned to cast really in the last couple of years, so it's not anything that I'm really great at, but I'm learning.
Well, I'm bringing up that
anyway,
one track that you had with the dollar bill side of it.
Okay.
And,
well,
yeah, go ahead and
that what I found looks like toes of a big cat. The pads themselves didn't imprint into the ground, but the fingers did. 3 of the fingers, and if you look really close on the right side, you can see a 4th digit, and you could tell it's a cat because dogs their nails protrude the whole time. They don't retract. Cats will retract into the fingers themselves, but if they're really long, the very tips of the claws will actually still cut the dirt if it's a deep enough print. And those particular fingerprints on that track have a really sharp nail right in the very middle. It's not very long, but you can see where the nail actually cuts the dirt. So that tells me it's a cat. And being about half the size of a dollar bill, about in width, shows it's about 3 inches wide, maybe 4.
All right.
Because you can't actually see the pads of the feet, it's hard to determine how wide it is. So that tells me that it's going to either be one big bobcat or it's going to be a mountain lion or cougar, or whatever you want to call it.
Right.
And we're not supposed to have those here in East Texas, but
so you don't have mountain lions at all? You don't have mountain lions at all?
Not supposed to.
Okay.
Not supposed to. According to the game wardens, they do not live here, and they were killed out years and years and years ago. But when I worked for the sheriff's department back in '01, one of the deputies actually had a game camera trail picture of one behind the deer there in Shelby County, where I'm from.
Right.
And it was about 6 foot long. It was a big cat. I bet it was 180 pounds if it was an ounce. Big cat. So,
Damn.
I've heard them, Yeah, when they scream, it sounds like a woman screaming off in the bottom. It's pretty spooky. If you've never
Wow.
heard a big cat, look up the sound what a cougar makes, and and if it's off in a bottom or in the mountains and let it echo, it is something spooky to hear.
Oh yeah, the one. Well, I'm not exactly sure if it was. My dad referred to it as a bobcat crying, and I
Right.
heard a baby crying up in a holler, as
Mm.
they call it here.
Mhm.
Uh, and I was like, "You sure, Dad?" Yes,
Right.
yeah, that's what a bobcat is. And now, after the fact, I've seen all kinds of signs of Bigfoot. These tree breaks and you know 4 or 5 year old trees pulled up by the root ball and thrown up into bigger trees. Saw that a
Mhm.
time or two, all
Right.
over that area. And that ain't that far from me right now, where I'm seated. So,
Right. When you educate yourself, it does a couple of things. One thing it does is make it really difficult to be in the woods by yourself.
right.
It makes it difficult to be unarmed. So there most of the time, if I'm in the woods, I am well armed. But there are times that I'm not allowed to be technically driving this truck I'm in. The company doesn't wants you to be armed. But I guess what they don't know won't hurt them. So when
Well,
it's legal
sometimes,
like that,
yeah, sometimes, well, hell, I knew a
I mean,
guy,
you got to protect yourself.
yeah, I knew a guy that, the hospital, one of the hospitals I worked for, I knew a guy that, had at least 3 firearms on him at any time. And he'd walk into the
Right.
work, in the work, and, pass by multiple signs and no firearms past this, unless you are licensed, whatever. Cop,
Right.
sheriff, that kind of thing. And he'd walk in. I don't give a crap. He he had the weirdest freaking laugh. And I asked him, man, why do you act so crazy? He said, the only reason is, if they think I'm crazy, they'll react to me quicker.
Right. I guarantee you.
Man, yeah, he had the wildest freaking laugh. It was a crazy fucking laugh. Excuse my language, but
Yep.
yeah, if anybody that I worked with is listening, you probably know who the hell I'm talking about. But yeah, he is wild. But anyway, hey Don, I got another call. Let me grab this caller and
All right, brother.
All right, brother. You take care.
All right. All right. We'll catch you later.
All right, see ya.
All right, man. Bye.
Bye. All right. Well,